And I've avoided talking about the V word. However, I think it's time for me to come forward and mention what's actually going on in our world. What's going on in our world, if you'd asked me 6 months ago, would we be doing this Zoom meetings, limited people out in the room, being in lockdown, not being able to kiss your grandchildren, not being able to have your grandchildren or your family come to visit. If you'd told me that 6 months ago, I would have said you're crazy. However, in looking back, and a lot of mediums I have spoken to have realised that they have seen this coming. I was talking to a friend of mine and she said to me, she said, I don't understand. This is around Christmas time, and she said to me, I don't understand why every message I seem to be giving seems to be exactly the same. I'm giving messages of quiet time, loneliness, heartache, not being able to hug, giving messages of change of positions in jobs, different residential addresses, talking about this sort of thing with just everybody that they were getting messages for. And she said, looking back now, I can understand the confusion I had, but it was actually what was happening right now. Now, if you're anything like me and you're a hugger, this whole thing, this whole virus thing is absolutely dreadful. Because the first thing you initially do when you see somebody that you haven't seen for a few days is you give them a hug. And now it almost feels like you're being frowned upon to show any sort of affection. You've got this, and you've got this, and you've got this, and you've got all of this, but nothing beats being able to give your loved ones a hug. And I have to admit that I'm not very good at not doing that. This is me, once again, this is me. I still hug the people I love. Not being able to go out, and I hear that it's bad in England again, and in Paris and France as well, I hear that the curfews are starting all over again. So my heart goes out to England, my heart goes out to all the other countries in the world that are starting to do it tough. But in this time of tough, I have to say I like to look at the positive of what's going on. Now the positive is we've all been forced to take a step back. We have all been forced to slow our lives down. We have all been forced to just chill. If you told me 5 months ago that I'd be sitting at home at night with my husband, I would have said, you're crazy. I'm out doing all sorts of things, and he's out doing all sorts of things. But we've been forced to sit at home. Things are starting to open up again, which is wonderful. And I just hope that as we step forward, as things start to open up again, that we don't lose sight of the quiet time that we're having now. What I need to tell you, what I feel in my heart that I need to tell you right now is this is hard for us. The not hugging, the not going out, not partying. Very hard for us. But the spirit world thanks us. The spirit world thanks us because now, with this time that we are sitting back and we are quiet, more and more people are wakening up. More and more people listening to spirit. They're not racing around with their crazy lives. More and more people are trying to connect with spirit. So the spirit world thanks you. Look around. The plant life thanks you. Because we're not racing around like crazy things. A lot of us have spent time in our gardens, If you have a look around in your neighbourhood, the gardens are looking so much more beautiful. So nature thanks you. The animals thank you. Because even though we're doing it tough, you hear stories now of the oceans are becoming cleaner. The atmosphere is cleaner. The animals thank you. Rivers are running beautiful and clean. There are some places in the world right now that they can actually see the sky where they haven't been able to see the sky for years. Nature thanks you. So nature thanks you. The spirit world thanks you. Your family thanks you because you spent time with them. But not only that, the universe thanks you. Because the universe is looking down on Earth, going through this terrible time. The universe is looking down and seeing the amount of humans that are starting to open up to spirit, are starting to feel the love that they should have been feeling years ago, but they were just too busy with their own lives. They're starting to feel the urge to do things, to hug, to help somebody. With all these good things that are going on in the world right now, it's raising the vibration and it's also raising the colour of the world. So the universe is looking down on us and saying, my gosh, they've got it tough down there, but they're fighters. We're all fighters. And we're going to bounce back from this. And hopefully we bounce back from this a lot better human beings than what we did when we first came into it. Now I can remember before the virus started, people were saying that Mother Nature is starting to fight back. Mother Nature is saying, you cannot keep taking from me without giving back. So Mother Nature was on its way to try to help slow things down. You heard of all the volcanoes, the typhoons, the hurricanes. You heard of all these natural disasters that were going on. We haven't heard much of those in the last 6 months, have we? We've quietened down. I'm not saying that we've repaired the earth because we have got such a long way to go to fully repair the earth. But we're on our way. But the one thing that gets me most about the whole V word, and that is the fact that people have been tormented and feared for their own safety. The fear that is being spread. Instead of spreading love and understanding, we've had the black riots, we've had the shootings. You hear these sorts of things. So there's been that fear, but we have to raise above the fear. And I said to my daughter that I absolutely, and once again, this is me, this is not anybody else, but I absolutely have no fear of the virus. And she said to me, well, what about if you got it? And I said, well, I'd have to isolate, which I would do. I said, but for me, I have no fear of the death, which is what everybody fears. I have no fear of where I'm going. I have no fear of my place on the earth or in the spirit world for that matter. And she said to me, she said, because you have faith, and she said, faith is a wonderful thing. She said, but what about if you're wrong? And I said, okay then, I could be wrong. And I said to her, because she said to me, what about if you're wrong and there's absolutely nothing? And I said, to me that would be a very, very sad way to think, because we recently lost a few loved ones, and to think that they've just gone is just sad for me. I said, however, if I'm wrong And if that's the case, I said, I'm not going to know anything. So it doesn't bother me. So I have no fear of the passing. I have no fear of that. I do, however, have fear in myself, and we're all, I hope we're all the same, not for my own safety, but if I ever picked up this dreaded virus, to pass it on to somebody and be the cause of them to go. I have no fear. I know where I'm going, but not everybody's in that relaxed place. My daughter is so terrified of death that she won't even allow me to talk about it. But we talk about the afterlife and how these people come back and say how beautiful it is. How it's much more beautiful than what you could ever imagine. How they look at people down here. They not only see the person, but they see the beautiful colours of their auras. And I can remember getting a message for somebody one time, and they said to me, tell her, this lady had very, very bad self-esteem, and they said, tell her, please tell her, that if she looked in the mirror and saw what I saw, she will understand how beautiful she is. So if we could see each other, and I'm talking about black, white, yellow, makes no difference. My gosh, it makes no difference the colour of the skin. It makes no difference what religion people are. What the difference is what's in here. That's what makes that person. I think I've spoken about this before. I have tried different religions right through my childhood. Kicked out of Sunday school several times. So I've tried different religions. Am I an expert? No, because I find with everything that I find an answer to, I've then got 100 questions. So even though I've tried different religions, I can remember saying to, because my father and my daughter's father-in-law told me that I was evil because of what I believed and because of what I do. And he said to me I was going to burn for eternity in hell. And I remember my response to him. I didn't get angry, I didn't get whatever, and I just said to him, the world will change when I can look at you and say, you're a born-again Christian, that doesn't matter, I love you anyway. And you can look to me and say, you're a spiritualist, that doesn't matter, I love you anyway. Once we can do that, once we can go past what somebody believes. I mean, how many people in this room now? I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm not going to count. But each person here has got a completely different understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Different understanding of religion, a different understanding of this whole virus thing. I was on a Facebook page, and this lady who claims to be a Christian lady put on her Facebook page, anybody who doesn't agree with what I say might as well just leave now. And I can remember writing, because her post was all about the virus, and it was a political post, and I'm not going to go into any details of that, but I can remember saying to her, if you want everybody to believe what you write, I said, isn't that just being very, very narrow-minded? And the next minute I knew I was blocked. But my point is, we've got to be able to say, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe. I've fought all my life trying to get people to not understand what I believe, but accept that I believe it. We have to, and we don't tell people what they have to do, but we have to be more understanding, more caring. Everybody, I've got a Muslim son-in-law, I've got a Catholic brother-in-law, I've got from all over the place, Nigerian, Lebanon. Syria. I've got relatives from all over. And we have some good discussions about religion and about where you go after death. We have some really good discussions. But the one thing that I go back to, and every time I talk to these people, the one thing I go back to is if you strip back religion, what does that really preach? Any religion, the main focus of any religion is to care and love your brother. You can go back to any. Care and love your brother. And I say to them, that's all you need to worry about. Anyway, the universe thanks you. The universe thanks you. The universe thanks each and every one of us. And I here been ranting and raving, and I apologise, but I thank you for listening. Thank you.
That was very good, Dianne. That's all I need to say.
Thank
I
you.
don't have anything else to say. Thank you. Okay, and now we